7:49 on TSN 690. It's Weekend Game Plan with Matthew Ross. We're here until 9 o'clock. Don't forget Montreal Alouettes, Montreal Impact action coming your way today against TFC. 3 o'clock is when the game begins. 2 o'clock is the pregame. We'll also have Sunday Night Football for you later on today. And at 8:05, we'll have our Habs breakfast segment. Amanda Stein will join us here in studio, as well as on the phone, Robin Short from the St. John's Telegram, also color analyst on the Ice Caps broadcast, talking a little Montreal Canadiens prospects. Right now, though, it is our college amateur sports roundup. Typically, we have Mo Khan on in this segment, but we have a treat today. He is the head coach of the McGill Lacrosse team in his 14th year. In fact, they are actually the defending champions, and they won yesterday out at Molson Stadium by a score of 16-4 over Carleton. They'll play today 1:30 at Molson Stadium against Ottawa. We are joined on the line by Tim Murdoch. Hey, Tim, how you doing?
Great to be on, Matthew. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us today. First of all, congrats on the win yesterday. That's a nice win.
Thank you very much.
16-4. Was it as lopsided as a score?
Yes.
See, that's what I like. I like honesty. That's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Carleton's in a downward spiral. They're 1-10 and we're 8-1. So it's always tough when you have a mismatch like that.
Looking at, we'll get into a little bit about the program, but Ottawa, is that a bigger challenge today?
They're slightly stronger, but we expect similar kind of an outcome. We're in a bit of a potential tiebreak, so every point matters. We're really trying to optimize goals for and goals against low.
I was going to say, yeah, you guys are in second place right now, and you're trailing Trent University. That's a tough team, I would imagine.
Yes, Trent is in a real a hotbed for lacrosse in Peterborough, and they've done a nice job of recruiting back from the United States several NCAA players who have decided that it wasn't worth the extra cost of playing down in the United States and playing in the NCAA. Now,
lacrosse is a sport that really intrigues me. I remember back earlier in the century when we had the Montreal Express for one season here. I did catch a game down at Molson Stadium and saw a couple of games on TV, or rather down at the Bell Center, and saw a couple of games on television, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I never really watched on television when the Toronto Rock were on, just because I can't root for a Toronto team, much like the Jays for myself. But anyway, that's another matter. Why do you think it failed earlier a few years ago here in Montreal, and would you like to see it come back?
Well, I was actually one of the first people to buy tickets. I think it failed because the ownership group owned three teams at the time. They owned the Toronto team, they owned the Ottawa team, and they owned the Montreal team. They frankly didn't get the francophone reality, didn't invest here locally heavily enough. It consequently didn't work.
Would it work, or could it work?
I think it could, but you have to look at the economic reality, and with the Bell Center filling up so often and annually, you'd be displacing a lot of kind of guaranteed fixed revenue. So from a business standpoint, it's a tough business. Bit of a rich man's game. A lot of those franchises don't make much money, and those that do are really have been around for a while. Toronto has done well, I understand, and Philadelphia, I believe, has done well. But a lot of the other franchises are break-even at best.
So why are you still involved with the sport?
Well, just for the passion of the game. I'm been a volunteer, as many of the so-called Level 2 sports at McGill, limited funding, so they rely on a network of volunteer coaches. Old players become coaches oftentimes, and that was the case with me.
Talk to me about a couple of your star players. Do you have some guys that you expect to be with the program for a long time, or any of those guys looking to play professionally when they're done at McGill?
We actually had our first player drafted in the National Lacrosse League a few weeks ago. His name is Spencer Bromley. He's an honor student studying at McGill. Very bright young man, very good athlete. We like to try to not to have a star system, meaning that I think if you do have a star system, that's easier for other teams to defend you. So we like to kind of spread the ball around on offense and not rely on any one person. But certainly Spencer is our fourth all-time scorer, so he's an important person for us.
What can fans expect if they come out to watch a game? For example, if they came out today or in the near future, if they've never been to a lacrosse game, what should they look for? What kind of entertainment are they getting?
Well, it's interesting. If you've never seen it, so the game we play is actually on a football field outdoors. There's an indoor game which you've seen on television, which would be like the Toronto Rock, and the original game was actually played outdoors. It's a Aboriginal game, right? So the earliest teams played in the Iroquois community. So you can expect an up-tempo game, fairly high scoring. I love soccer, but when it's 1-0, I mean, you watch the paint dry, it's about as exciting as a soccer game sometimes. And then I think you see enough contact to make that interesting. It's a skill game. You see a lot of ball movement, like you see in hockey, moving the puck. You see that, in a sense, moving the ball. It's considered the fastest sport on 2 feet. Not always play like that, but that's its nickname.
That's the interesting thing is the physicality of it. I mean, if you like hockey because it's physical, that's the same kind of thing you have in lacrosse. I was really amazed, Tim, when I started to watch lacrosse years ago, how brutal it is. I mean, I see guys whacking legs. It's crazy.
Yeah, you're right. And Matthew, in the box game, you're dealing with the boards and you're dealing with concrete. So you take a hit, take a fall on the boards. It's pretty unpleasant. But I don't think it's as dangerous as hockey because it's similar to hockey, but in hockey you get the guys going at higher speeds and some of those collisions with skates.
All right, so big game today, 1:30 down at Molson Stadium. If fans want to come down and check that out, what are we looking for today? Are there some key players we should keep an eye on? What kind of style are you guys looking to throw out there today?
Well, one player who stood out last night was our face-off man, Alex Beckus. He's a sophomore from Ohio. He won 84% of the face-offs. That's phenomenal. So, I mean, that's kind of the inside the game thing with him. Our goalie's played extremely well. He's got the lowest goals against in Canada. He's all the best goal in Canada. I would say if you've never seen the sport, come out to Molson Stadium. $5 for students, $10 for adults. It's a good introduction to the game. We expect to play well and win. We're trying to get to 9-1. We're chasing Trent. They're 10-0.
All right. When do the playoffs start?
Playoffs will start the weekend of the 29th. We're guaranteed now to have a home game. We've only lost one regular season game in the last 4 years, so we're used to winning a lot. One of our challenges, Matthew, is competition. We try to get down to the U.S. and play NCAA teams once in a while.
Yeah, I would imagine that would certainly help. All right, well, Coach Murdoch, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Good luck today, 1:30 again. If folks want to come down to Molson Stadium, they can do that for $10. If you're a student at McGill, it's $5. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Matthew, and just so your listeners know, I mean, lacrosse was Canada's original national sport long before hockey, so it's a game that's been around for a long, long time here.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.